All right, welcome to our Saturday roundtable. I feel like I want to invite people to come on, but no one's watching, so they're not going to watch the beginning. So I'm going to wait till there's a viewer and then be like, if you want to join, follow the StreamYard link. We have a StreamYard link every week in Facebook so that you can join and give us your update on what your project is and what you could use help with, because that's what we're here to do, is help each other with our projects and create a better OmniWin world. So this is where we discuss, tell you what our project is, what we've been up to, and what we could use help with. Adriel, do you want to start?
Sure. So my project, there's sort of they're two sides of the same thing. There's WikiLection, which I've been talking about for a while, and then the new version, which is sort of the parent to everything, which is Conferati. That is going well. The prototype for WikiLection, we've been building that, and I believe I'm supposed to be getting a new version hopefully sometime soon. We've been, I think, squirreling a bit on one of the features that was supposed to be fairly simple because it was a prototype, but I think our two coders may have, to use that term again, squirreled a bit and gotten sort of a deep dive in that feature, which is fine. It sounds like a bunch of other projects will be able to use it. I actually spoke to a person from an accelerator in Florida yesterday who did they offer an accelerator for social enterprises, and that includes I guess for-profit businesses that have some sort of they pay X% towards something, or just straight up nonprofits. And so that sounds interesting. So I'll be sending in an application for that because apparently the timeline for that wouldn't conflict with my day job, which is nice. So we'll be doing that, possibly. That'll be good. And that is where the project is at.
All right. And I am Jubilee, and my projects are Solution Raising and my new project, which is Meta Modern Learning Magic, working title. So the acronym is MLM. And Solution Raising, we held it on War this week. And I wouldn't say we failed to come up with something, but we got off topic a lot. It was more about interpersonal war, masks, not masks, and that kind of thing, rather than war in general. And then this next week, we're going to do it on humor, on comedy and humor. I have no idea, because I'm like, does that need to be fixed? I don't know, but Eric suggested it, so we're going to do it on that. The MLM, I've been talking to several people. It might be Raymond and Carrie and I who started. It might be this other person who I talked to if we want to do the 6-week course together. One thing I could use help with this week, although it's only you, of course, is how last week went. How after we talked about, how last week went, right? Did you feel empowered after talking about your issue in order to take any action that was what you wouldn't have taken anyway? Or, what was the actual impact? And I'm looking to think about, I'm going to be starting the 6-week course that will be the product for the MLM. And who to start it with. Do I want to start it with life coaching people who generally have a high paid life coach that they would work with, or because I have a lot of people in that community, or do I want to do Game B people or random people? Who is it? I kind of want to do all three see, participate in all of them and see where they go. But I barely have the spoons to add one thing to my plate, let alone all of them. While I'm also, the coordinator for the teacher for my kid and doing all of that as well. So that is a bit of my update. Now we can have an open conversation. And Bentley's not joining us today. He's moving. He's taking the day. Just to be clear, he wasn't a no-show. He's just not here. As I don't think anyone thinks Bentley's a no-show. I don't think anyone sees his personality as flaky in any way as maybe mine is. But I also show up every week. So I just did a video this morning on underestimators and how much I'm definitely an underestimator, but we hire the overestimators. And I'm going to be looking at trying to correct just a little bit of that language, not because I want to be an overestimator, but I don't want to come off as an underestimator, if that makes any sense, even though I want the underestimator to inform my personality, because I think that underestimators show up better in this world. And yet we underestimate.
In the long term, yeah.
Sorry?
But to your point, if you have to choose between two people and someone is like, I'm not sure, and someone is like, I'm amazing.
Yeah, that's literally what the video was. It's like, would you hire Bob, who's an overestimator, or Ruby, who's an underestimator, with the assumption they're the exact same skill level? You're always going to hire Bob, the overestimator, and Ruby's always going to show up better if they're the same skill level, right? And of course, being an underestimator makes you show up with higher skill, and being an underestimator makes you overestimator. Sorry, is like, I'm already good. I don't need to do anything. So it's like they start the same and actually diverge. You're always going to hire Bob, and yet you should have always hired Ruby is basically the outcome.
Yeah.
Now it's very juxtaposition.
I think it's kind of like an X on a graph for like, although it's a weirdly shaped one because they overlap pretty quickly. Where it's like you hire Bob as the overestimator, you're like, you're looking good, you're looking at it, you probably give him the benefit of the doubt for the first week or two, and then you're like, I don't think Bob is very good. After you actually, go through training and see Bob do work, you're like, Bob doesn't know how to do this. I just asked Bob the most basic question and he didn't know what that word meant. That's a standard thing everyone who knows this knows.
Right. So you're someone who's actually hired people. So let's say you hire Bob and he sucks, and you fire Bob 2 weeks later, and now you're going to hire the next person. You're still going to hire an overestimator, right? You're still going to hire that person. Now you're going to look for someone who's even better at it than
the
Bob.
Interview process is to avoid that, right? It's not about underestimators. It's, do you actually know what you say you know? Hey, Carrie.
Hello.
I've seen you.
I know that's part of it.
Yeah. One example of that was I was working at a software company, and we had just hired, or I don't remember if we hired him. No, he was just doing an interview, and this guy was a developer. Resume out the door. It was awesome. Our development manager was like, "There's no way this guy is going to want to work here. He has way too much experience." Blah blah blah. So he's just went through the process anyway. Had the guy do the development interview, which there was like a really small coding challenge. Like, just go here and code this. And the guy asked our development manager, like, "Well, how do I do that?" He's like, "Well, you start off by starting a class." He's like, "So how do I do that?" And that's when our dev manager realized, like, oh, this guy can't do anything his resume says he can do. Like, it's all a lie, every single word. And then he asked a couple more questions and found out it was all complete BS. And so the job of the interview is to make sure that you're not just relying on what the resume says the person can do. You actually phone the references, hopefully, and figure out how good the person was. You ask them questions to see, do they actually know what they say they're going to know, which generally means that it can't just be, an HR person doing it, because I've been on the other end of that where it's just somebody who doesn't know the thing at all. And that makes the company look bad. Kind of the opposite, where the company seems like maybe the company's an overestimator.
Fair enough. Kara, do you want to tell us your project and where you are with it and what's going on?
Oh, geez, I don't know where to start, really. Well, as you know, like, my life went to shit in a big way. So, as I said, it went downhill pretty fast, kind of hit rock bottom, and it made me question everything about me and what I'm going to do. And I was like, well, I know my plans of where I'd like to go, but obviously I can't do any of them because of circumstances and stuff. So I thought, well, what do I love? Right. And there was one thing that you said to me, Jubilee, a while back, saying, you said you're really funny, which I never really saw it myself, hey. And I thought, well, what do I love doing? I said, well, I love crocheting, right? I love making people laugh, and I want a community. So anyway, because I'd kind of started crocheting, I decided to call myself Bad Nana Beans, right? I thought, well, okay, I'll make a go at Bad Nana Beans, and then I thought, right, oh shit, there's no money coming in after a certain date because got made redundant and that. And I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to do? So I'm going to have to ask people for money to keep me going. And my friend was starting a bookkeeping business, and she's really good. Like, whereas I'm all over the place, so like big ideas, big pictures, like fuck the details, and like she's all details and stuff. So starting to collaborate with her, and we're like, well, she's got hardly any clients left, and she's like at that crossroads point as well. So anyway, I got a bit of redundancy, and I asked my mum if she'd give me money for a year, because she did offer to pay some of my mortgage off, because I've only got a year or 2, 3 left. And I thought, well, if you do that for me, I'm still going to be up shit creek without a paddle, because I've still got no money, because nobody wants to give me a job, because I've been applying for jobs all over the place, right? So anyway, Bad Nana Beans. Right, I thought, right, I'll crochet stuff for people. And then I took a deep dive into the crochet world and how to make money through crochet. And everyone was going, ooh. I was just like, okay. And then he said, you've got to have 7 different streams of income. And I thought, okay, so I kind of got 2 maybe so far. I'm okay till December 21, but after that I was like, right, okay, so there's that, and with my mate Leanne, and then the idea of the Pirates of the Crafty Being came to light, because there's a lot of people out there who make crafts, do crafts, but they don't really fit in to these worlds that are out there. And there's loads of people who make one-off stuff, never to be made again. And I've had a lot, and so I took a deep dive into Etsy and all the marketplaces, and I was like, ugh. And I listened to loads of people who'd kind of been thrown off the site. And there was one particular instance where there was a woman, and she'd been on there for 7 years making money with her jewellery, and she got ill. And obviously she'd refunded all her customers and stuff back, and she'd moved, and she said the glue and the heat of the earring, her earrings fell to pieces. So she ended up having to do that, and she got ill, and they wouldn't give her a shot back. After 7 years of ploughing all that effort into sort of generating, okay, stuff for yourself, but also when people come to look at hers, they're showing other people's stuff as well. And I thought, right, okay. So I took a dive into that, and I thought, right, I'd like something like that, but I don't want to be like them. You know what I mean? I don't want to be. So I realized with Bad Nana Beans, like, I think I want to do it as a collective, and I want to build a marketplace, but I want people to come for the community first, and then for the marketplace. You know what I mean? And so that's and the Pirates of the Crafty Being, right? I know, as of sort of like years of doing different stuff and fingers in lots of pies, I realise I know a load of people from all different backgrounds, and everybody's kind of siloed off into this is photographers, this is for filmmakers, this is for that, that's for that. So as I said, I thought the Pirates of the Crafty Being could be kind of like a social club sort of thing, And Jubilee, which when you sent me that Barbara Share video about the idea parties and stuff like that. So I think underneath the banner of the Pirates of the Crafty Being, I'd like to host sort of like idea parties and stuff like that as well. So as I said, it's like, and I came up with it. And as I said, I looked into sales and marketing and all the digital marketing. And I thought, oh, as I said, I felt dirty. It felt kind of slimy. And I know everybody's going towards AI and stuff like that, and automated messages. And to be honest, right, because I've been quite depressed over the past few weeks, all you ever get, because I'm nosy and I sign up for a lot of things, all you get is all these AI messages going, hi, would you like to buy my shirt? Would you like to buy my shirt? Oh, we care about you. We haven't seen you for a while. Would you like to buy my shirt? And I thought, you've got no fucking idea how your automated message, which everybody knows is automated, and this kind of like this fake sort of care. And I remember one guy sort of like sent me an email extolling the virtues of AI and automated messages, and all it said was, hi, first name. And I just thought, there's got to be a better way of sales and marketing. I'm going to have a look at all the traditional stuff. And I think I need a mentor in traditional sales and marketing and things, because I know there's something in there that I can maybe do better, or maybe change it so it's not as shitty. You know what I mean? And so yeah. So look, I'm spending the now till December kind of making stuff, right, and then kind of taking that time to actually think about stuff and think about what I want. And as you know, I'm not very good at planning and schedule and shit like that. So I'm going to have to learn that as well. So I'm going to have to learn everything. So I feel like, I've just sort of like started again. But yeah, so someone said I was crocheting people into existence. I said, oh, okay, then maybe I should start taking photographs and crochet. Have a crochet jubilee. I think I'll need a crochet jubilee, a crochet Adriel, a crochet Bentley.
Well, I see. I thought you were using my name in the other sense. I was gonna say, actually, I thought this week, because I don't have anything you can make for me, but then I wear this hat all winter long, but it's got a hole in it, and it's getting bad. And I want a black one that's basically the same.
Okay, then look. Do you want the thingies?
But yeah, you said you could only crochet for people you know, and I was like, oh, I could use something like that with maybe just a little bit of color.
Do you want the things, the flaps? Do you want the flaps?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
you want the class? Yeah. Come on. We got these off the share shelf at co-housing.
That's pretty cute.
And as for my kids, kind of outgrown them, and I don't mean I mean like mentally. I'm like, I still wear them. If I can't find my other one, I get cold.
Right, so you
want?
right, because hats was on my list because people have started asking, do you do beanies? I said, well, I've never crocheted them before because I've never had anybody to because I don't wear hats. So I'm having to set up a questionnaire and a survey to send out to people so they can fill in because like there's lots of stuff, right? Because I'm not interested in any of it, it's really odd to think, oh, I'll just crochet this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I've done pots for home decor, which quite everyone's kind of been drooling about the proper versions of them and that. But yeah, so beanies, any particular, you want black ones? Black with flaps.
The same. My mom actually got this for me over a decade ago. It was from a place here called 10 Villages, which is like from all over the world. They theoretically use fair trade and then they sell it. And so I think it's from one of the South American countries. I actually don't know. I don't need the little tassel on the top. That part I probably don't need, but the tassel of these on the bottom, I do. I like it over my ears, and even though it's weird because it hurts my single-sided deafness, but I like it, and it's what I'm used to now. I literally wear it from about October to April or May.
Okay, like, I'll dig out some patterns and I'll send you the patterns, and then you can tell me which ones you like. Also, Jubilee, I met somebody who I hadn't seen for about 20 odd years. Right, and basically we're on the same kind of level, right? He's got autism, right, with other stuff as well. And I was going to introduce him, but I thought he's driving me fucking insane, right? And you know what I love it, right? I really like him, and he's a kind person. And he showed me this project thing that he had for a cooperative club, and I thought, oh, Jubilee. And then I thought, no, she'll fucking make mincemeat out of him.
I don't like mincemeat out of people. It depends on how. I do sometimes get into my own autistic self where it's just like, I
didn't know whether to introduce you because, like, I'm sitting there, like, he's the kindest person in the world. And I'm just sitting there and he's like, rah, rah. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. I'm just like, oh, yeah. And then I thought, oh, but like, you go, oh, but would she though? And I thought, oh, you know what I mean? And then I spoke to him again and he said, look, I'm better if I'm just delivering a video. I said, yes, Steve. So I'm hopefully speak to him like that, but he's a bit entrenched with this thing, which was kind of like part of this network I was on years ago. It was called the Academy, and the owner, story about this Academy website, right? It was about networking and business and this and that and the other, and how networking and the leader of that site and the owner of that site was going extolling the virtues of networking, and I just thought he was a bit of a wanker, to be honest, right? So I basically out networked him on his own website, you know what I mean? So and he set up this kind of like Black Star Academy with, you know, and you have to pay about $2,000 to join and stuff like that as well, and it's kind of part of this person, which I won't name just in case it gets done for slander or whatever. Anyway, Steve was part of this Black Star Academy, and I remember him paying for me to go to the House of Lords dinner one time, right? So that's how kind he was, but he used to get slaughtered because I didn't know back then he had autism, you know what I mean, and other stuff going on. But the way he came across and that used to sort of like rub everybody up the wrong way. And at that time, nobody really kind of probably realized. He just thought he was being a bit of a cunt, you know, to be honest. And anyway, so he's had all this, but you know, the sad thing is he's been entrenched in this thing, and I can see good bits in this thing, but it just feels a bit like a cult, right? And I'm just like, Steve, but what I realized today, I think people have taken advantage of him, right? So I think they've taken advantage of him.
Is it his company? Did he come up with the idea, or is it somebody else?
No, it's somebody else's, right?
This sounds an awful lot like an MLM and not a cooperative. Well, this is $2,000 to join it, and
no, this was just sort of like a networking thing and stuff like that way back when. Yeah, so like thinking back, like after me last sort of like chat with him, and what he's been telling me over the past 15 years, because he says, I've got a lot of knowledge. And then he started speaking about the holochain, and I thought, Raymond, do I introduce him to Raymond? And I thought, oh my God, that'll be like Clash of the fucking Titans and stuff. And I just...
Why, Raymond?
Well, Raymond used to tell me that, he used to get thrown out of places for just asking questions, too many questions. And I thought, oh, you know what I mean? And then Steve goes to me, you're one of the very few people who I mentioned holochain to, and you know what it is. And I'm just like, but I think, and I'm feeling quite sad now because, as I said, while I was chatting to him, because he's great at doing a video, but in live chats, he's not. He goes off all over on tangents. And I know I go off on tangents all over the place, but he's well kind of, and we've got the same kind of profile, what this thing is, because he gave me this thing to do. And he was like, oh, you're just a minute. I was like, right, okay. So, but I think what's happened is, I think people have taken advantage of him over the past 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, and I just don't know how to kind of, like, there's nothing I can do to fix that. But, I think most of his reactions are part of that, which is why he's kind of, you know what I mean? But as I said, I wanted to introduce him to you because I know he's all about the co-op and stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I
I'm
mean?
down with it. I'm always down.
Right.
My issue is, sometimes I can get a little, because it's what I want people to do for me with my project. Like, I get so annoyed's the wrong word, but it's like, okay, either I'm saying I have a world-saving project and I can't necessarily explain it, although I think I'm doing a pretty good job of making it, so I think I'm okay. But like, either it's true, right? I actually do know how to save the world, in which case, fucking listen for a second, right? Like, try to understand it because I can't explain it, or I don't.
Right.
If I'm delusional, break it for me because it's going to break me and my my family, my life, everything. And if it is, then listen. And it's like, instead, everyone kind of has this gray area of like, we'll just let her do her thing. And it's like, no, either break it or don't. Like, it's like it's not a kindness. And so for me, I forget that other people maybe don't want that. And so I try to break their thing for them. And it's like, oh, you don't want this broken. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's not. And so now, and I don't want it, like the people who, like, I met someone who is doing a similar thing, an MLM, a cooperative, an OmniWin, and he is more competent than I am. He's more charismatic. He's more of a business person. He's actually been successful in actual MLMs. And I'm like, ooh, you might succeed at this thing you're making, but the thing you're making is flawed. But you might succeed at it, but other people aren't necessarily going to succeed at it. And there's that level of like, for him, I don't feel like I need to break it because he might make it work, right? And so,
Right.
But for someone else, if like someone else brought that to me, and I'd be like, not going to work because one, you don't have the experience, you weren't successful in an MLM. Like, there's very different qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, that part of what I'm dealing with in the world is I do want a like weirdo revolution. I'm like, I want an authentic, autistic, like. And so then I come up against people who rub me the wrong way or who personalities are in conflict. And I'm like, but not you. And I'm like, right, that's my shit. Like, it's like, are you interrupting people? Are you going on tangents? That's so annoying.
So right, as I said, I was debating whether to introduce you to each other. Because I think that, but as I said, I realised, talking to him, I realised the value of having a small community. Like, I really want a community that actually gives a shit about the people in the community, and it's a two-way street. I don't want one-way street because I realised because he was going on about he's got 13,000 in his network, and apparently he sent this thing out he sent me an invite to this thing called the Lunch Club, where you put in your details and have random chats with whoever. And he said I was one of the very few people out of the 13,000 people who actually got in touch with him. Now, to me, that displays, right? Yes, you can have a big network of people, but if they don't give a shit about you, there's no way anything what you do is going to have any impact in that. Whereas smaller communities and people who actually do give a shit about you and want you to succeed as you want to help them succeed. Because as I said, I've sat and really thought about myself and what is it? What is it that I keep doing? And even, right, I've been told, right, you should focus on yourself. But that doesn't make me feel good right? I feel better when I can just help and help and help. But what I realise, I help and help and help, and yet the help is not coming back to me. You know what I mean? And therefore, you know, I get bogged down with stuff. But even though I try and say, right, I'm not helping anybody, I just can't fucking help it. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
in my
part of your personality.
DIA
Yeah.
to sort of like say no, you know what I mean? And I've always put others first. Like I remember when I used to have to, when I was doing courses and I was doing exams, and I never used to hear from people at all. And the day before the fucking exam, someone would phone me about a disaster in their life, right? So, and I'm like, well, I can't fucking just say like, no, sorry, call me back in 3 months' time.
You really can. You really can, by the way.
Well, I know
you really,
I can.
really can. I have to say, I mean, now that, and this is part of me feeling like I'm here to save the world and I have this idea in me, I've literally cut out all of the drama from my life. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't deal with you and your relationship bullshit. I have to deal with the world. And if I knew that they, like, there's people I'm like, listen, I'm here for you. Call me if you need me, but like I should be 4th or 5th down the list, right? Like,
Right.
but if the first ones aren't, like, yes, come to me, but everyone has drama. Everyone lives paycheck to paycheck. Everyone has constant drama because they don't have big world saving shit to deal with because their heads in the sand for all of that stuff. And it's like either we concentrate on the mundane shit that honestly anyone can deal with. So go find someone else to deal with it. I'm here to save the world. And that sounds selfish and it feels selfish in the moment because I'm like, no, I really do want to be here for my friends and family. And I want, but then I don't have the energy to do the other stuff. And anyone can be here for your breakup that is you're gonna get back together in a week anyway. Not everyone can change the world. And so it's like, where is your focus? Where is your energy better used? And then if you're also like, listen, I'm helping everyone and no one's helping me, there's that, I know you're not doing it for a tit for tat because that's not your personality. But when it starts to feel like that, it's like, don't do anything you wouldn't do without any reciprocity, right? Like if you, and that's part of it is I also realized that I don't call people when I'm hurting because that's not my personality, especially the people who call me when they're hurting and expect me to be their emotional support. I aren't safe spaces and I can't call them and events because they're judgmental as fuck. And so it's like, wait a minute, this isn't, no, I'm going to give my spoons of emotional energy to anyone else because you have other friends, you have other people, go to them. Go to the ones that you're actually going to listen to anyway because they also don't necessarily listen to my advice. And so it's like drains all of my energy. I feel bad because I'm an empath. And I'm like, no, you deal with your own shit. You're on your own roller coaster. Everyone is responsible for their own. And I'm more concentrating on like the meta, right? How do we get everyone help when they're in a relationship problem? How do we get everyone help when they're in a mental health crisis? So I can't deal with your mental health crisis. You know what I mean? Like yours, I would be happy to deal with because I know you're doing the world.
Well, I'm out of that now. I'm out of that now. But seriously, I did get to the very end, and I was just like, I just can't. I thought, why am I here? What's the point? You know what I mean? And but going back to the fun bit, what you said that I make people laugh and that. So I had an idea for the Pirates of the Crafty Being is to do these little vignettes, like films, the short clips of something called Second Helpings, Pills of Wisdom from the Pirates. So if you think of one-liners that make you laugh, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to do them. I'm speaking to my filmmaker friend on Monday. There's something on fire. Is that buzzing or is that just me? I've got something in my ears. Right. So I'm speaking to my filmmaker friend on Monday. So I'm going to see if she'll shoot them. So the idea is to get different people who are kind of, because I said to John, one of the guys who does embroidery, I said, look, these little vignettes and that. And he just, you know, where you're just sitting there doing what you're doing and then just look up and deliver one line. And I was talking to him and I said, you know, do these vignettes. You have one-liners called Pills of Wisdom and that. And he just looked at and he said, what, like this? And he went, did you enjoy the play, Mrs. Lincoln? And I never got the reference at the time because I didn't know what he was talking about. And stuff like that. So hopefully Bad Nana Beans might get a chat show. With all the
I was
loonies.
thinking there's a Raymond was using it, and actually, who else? I think it was Eric who they're nearly identical. I like the one that Raymond used better, and I don't know what the names are, so I can get you the names. But they're basically just a room that you go in. You have a little avatar, and when you walk up close to people, it goes into the video and gets clearer audio, and then when you walk away from people,
Right.
it's like being a physical person, right? That would happen if we were in a room of people, except when I walk, I don't have to hear all the background noise of all the other conversations, so this works better for me.
Right.
But doing something like that with crafting, it's free for up to 10 people. I think the one Eric has is free for up to 20 people. And
Right.
having that as the craft session where people can get together in groups of 2, or you can go wander over here and wander over there and do that. Anyway, it might be something that's free
Right.
that can start that. And having craft hour or craft 2 hours on the one every week, right? And seeing, can you build it up and build that community and doing something, because it's free, so it doesn't need. The other thing, when you were talking about marketing and how it leaves that bad taste, and we were talking just before you came on the overestimation video I just put out, and just that most people are either over or underestimators. And I think marketing is broken at the overestimation level, right? Like just like with people, everyone's going to overestimate their product. It's what you have to do. You're not going to be able to do it without it. But then we all know that everything in marketing is overestimation, so nobody trusts it. And so it's about recalibrating that trust. And like Adriel was saying, it's not really about, is he going to hire the next over underestimator? It's like, what is their actual skill set from the resume? And get the truth, right? What is their actual skill level? And that is what we need to do with marketing, right? It's like, what does this actually do? Not what do you promise it does? And how does it compare to everything else in the marketplace? That's not something one person can fix. It's something we have to fix together, right? Like it's marketing's so broken that you can't really game B it without creating game B. And yet the first thing that comes up that does that truly is a Yelp for the people. If we have the threshold of people who know about it, I think it'll be a
Well,
success.
one of the reasons why I wanted to set up Bad Nana Beans as a collective, right? As I said, I've got a friend in Australia who also does crochet. And I thought it'd be great, like, because of the postage and shipping, and someone from the UK, and I was speaking to my friend Jill I think she's in Santa Monica, and she's been making stuff on Etsy and stuff. And she said, I can't even send stuff to the UK. It won't allow anyone from the UK to buy stuff. So I thought, well, with the crochet side of it, I could get me and Vicky, right? So she's in Australia. Someone buys from Australia. She's got the pattern and the stuff to make it with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then vice versa.
We have a comment here for you. One-liner thing is so interesting. I've been discussing with a few friends about so many one-liners or phrases in numerous different cultures in India that could be revived in interesting ways. That'd be cool too, is having, especially I think we talked about, I don't know if it resonated with you, but like having people who are maybe refugees or immigrants who are teaching you their craft, right? And having that conversation and hearing their story.
I've spoken to because for the past couple of months, there's Monty, right? Her descendants are from India, and she bought the police box on Leith Walk, and she does these pop-up shops and that. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I've been going up there, because what happens is they get the refugee community kitchen. They get food from the supermarket that's been out of date, so they get that. So the stuff that they can't use, so they take a couple of them take a pop-up shop, and we give out free food. You know what I mean? And I was discussing this idea of with Joe, who's sort of like a trained therapist and stuff, and I've been discussing to her about, you know, the idea for arts and crafts and things like that. And I would like to actually, and she mentioned the refugees and their crafts and stuff, you know what I mean? So this is why I know I can't get an actual physical location that we could actually get together just yet. But part of the Pirates of the Crafty Being, and that hopefully create enough revenue to actually maybe get a start of somewhere we could have static. Like we can go to other places once the restrictions are lifted. But we need a place we can actually sit and plan, and then people can actually drop in and do things You know
but
what
you
I
can
mean?
start it. I mean, right now is the perfect time to start it online because
Yeah,
of the world. And so using one of those other ones, the one that I like that I was on with Raymond, you can upload a picture, so you could have a pirate ship, and then people could walk along the pirate ship, and you know what I mean? Like, we'll be crafted in the gallows, or I don't know what parts of ships are called. So gallows is, I don't add it to whatever the gallery. But finding those ways of bringing it online, and maybe doing just one that's local, saying that we're going to be at this pub once the restrictions are locked down, but start building that community, start inviting the people who are local, who are the refugees, to start having those conversations and seeing, is it developing as that community? Would they be open to being interviewed on a camera, right? Like what are those things? But I wanted to check in with you on like I'd said before Carrie came on, how last week was for you, and whether you found anything different over the last week having done the peer coaching, whatever we're calling it.
I mean, it was a bit different. I think I had been sort of in the mindset of changing things anyway. So I haven't dealt with the things that we talked about specifically, but like it has sort of, put a bug in my ear on like that. I probably should start paying attention to that.
Do you think it would be like if you were in a 6-week course where you kept showing up week after week, so that each week you have that little bit of like, oh yeah, I did or didn't do it, right? And so having that be
that's definitely one of the things that I've noticed just throughout my life that like makes me do something, is if I say I'm going to do it, especially like if it's in front of other people. Like my best record for actually like regularly going to the gym was when I had a gym partner, right? And it was like it was actually a gym in my building, so it was a friend of mine who afterwards, like, because it was just from there straight to work, he had to use my shower and stuff. It forced me to go to the gym, because it was like if I didn't go, he couldn't go to the gym. So it was
no, I found for me, I mean, I naturally, because I never force anything, but naturally seem to want, I talked to my roommate about getting a cleaner, because it's like, if we can't keep the house clean, then let's figure out how to do that. It'll take and so just having that conversation and looking into it is more than I've done over the last few weeks, right? So like that natural progression. We just did a bit of peer coaching where what kind of like the idea party. I was like, idea cafe is mine. Idea party with where we brought, and I just asked us all to bring something in our lives, how it is, how we would like it to be, and what's stopping us. And so mine was that my house is a mess, and Adriel's was his ADD, right? And keeping things on track. And then Bentley's not here, so we won't share his. But and seeing where that, because that's what the project for the MLM is a 6-week course. And that's not even paid. It's a free 6-week course. Show up and peer coach each other, right? And so it's funny, because I talked to someone yesterday who is a life coach, and he was like, well, I wouldn't want to do that because I would want, like, he's above those people, right? Like, it's like, well, I'd be the one coaching them. I'm like, no, you wouldn't, because that's not the point. Isn't there's a coach, right? So if you're doing that, you're actually not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But I'm like, honestly, because I also have life coaching. I have a few people I know with life coaching. I'm like, what if we got a bunch of life coaches together to peer coach each other? That would be interesting. Because it's like, right, you don't get to be the expert. This is the whole point, is it's like what in you says is the next step. And then you're a little bit more empowered to do it.
A reality show. That could get very entertaining.
Yes. It is true. And how to move forward with that and creating the community. Because I think I'm focused on broadcast. I still am. I'm still like, how do I grow my YouTube channel? How do I get more followers? How do I do that? Because it feels like that's what should happen, right? Like I should have that so I can but I'm like, oh, that actually isn't how this is going to go. It's going to be very interconnected, where it's like, oh, I only have to find 10 people. I don't need to find 10,000. And we just have to create something for us and then keep moving out without getting too big, right? Without getting the, that grandiose, well, wait, there's the utopian. How do we move towards the utopian? We don't. We just, how do we invite the 100 and the 1,000 and the 10,000, and growing out in that way that works for people? And part of it is dealing with the 6-week course of, is it working, right? If no one's getting anything out of it. But I think part of it is people have this vision. Like if you thought that coming to last week's would then cure your ADD, right? It's clearly not living up to that. But if the next week you've just done that little bit of extra, like you said, it was you were already thinking about it. That's the whole point. You were already thinking about it. You already are your own coach. You don't need an outside coach. It's just that little bit of like, and then someone says something that resonates with you or someone says something that triggers you. Either way, it's helpful, right? You should take medication.
And I think both you and I are the kind of people that wouldn't do well with having a life coach. Like, I'm really not that kind of person. Peers, fine, but a life coach, like, not my jam.
I'm rubbish at being coached or life coached and stuff. And I think Steve from the other day was like trying to mentor me, and I'm like, you're trying to mentor me, you know what I mean? So and all I think when I think of life coaches, JPCers now. If you can do the comedy version, I'd do that.
Yes, but I liked JP Sears. I like him less and less as he gets more and more famous and more egoic. I'm like, which happens, like, that's also, it's like the more influencer you become, then it becomes your like fake persona, and then you have to, whether it's fake or not, you have to play into it. And it's very much how influencer culture works. I don't even think you can be an influencer without having that, because if you would make one video, but your audience, is going to make another, was going to watch the other video, you're going to make the other video. And so it's going to continually make these choices again and again and again that it leads you down your non-authentic path. And then you're, especially when you have all the influence and all the people and you have that egoic thing keep happening. And it's like, my version is correct. It's like, oh, like, and he is like, I think he actually was into comedy, like showing like that.
I was listening to him talking to somebody today, and he said from as a kid, he loved comedy, but as he became a life coach, he felt he had to suppress that because people wouldn't think he was serious. And then, obviously, and then he couldn't sort of like stuff it down anymore. And then it came out, and that's what he kind of, you know what I mean? Because he did used to make me laugh, because I thought he obviously knows life coaching. I just thought he was a spoof anyway. So have you started your 6 weeks then? Is that what you've started now? No.
We were just doing a trial because I have the 6 weeks. So I'm still planning on doing the 6 weeks. Part of it is I don't know whether to just do a 6 weeks and be kind of be the host and then just learn from it myself, or whether I want people who want to build the Metamodern Learning Magic this is our first project or product. So come and play with the product and make it better, right? Like whether I kind of want to do it tangent where like we don't have ownership of it together, it's just me, and then I'm working with random 6 people to say, yeah, how was that? Like I'm the owner and they're the client, right? And like, hey, how was that for you? How could I improve it for you? Versus this is ours, how do we improve it together? Because I want the second one, but it's harder because everyone wants to touch it and change it and be like, well, I think we should have a coach. It's the opposite of what we are doing, right? Like it's like, anyway, so I'm kind of waiting for one of those things to be concrete and be like, yes, this is what you want to do, and following the path along the way. And I think I'm probably just going to put up an ad on my Facebook page and see who, with a time pick, to be like, who wants to come? Who wants to do it? Would you be interested in being part of the 6-week course, Gary?
I actually would. So whenever you're starting it, I'd definitely be interested, because I do, I guess, as I said, because of all the stuff that's going on, I need to focus on getting this bit first sorted out, because I know whatever I do will feed in to what you're doing and be able to help you and hopefully be able to assist you a lot more. But I need to get this bit fixed and stable, and once that's stable, then I'll be able to see who's there and who's got skills to doing what. Because I know you like the videos and stuff like that, and I know you need somebody to follow behind you with a dustpan and shovel.
Yeah, I don't even, and that's why I guess what I'm saying is I don't think I do. Like part of me is like, right, someone's going to come along and edit my videos. I don't think that's the path this is going to take. Like I think it's going to be very distributed. I'm never going to have 1 million people watching my YouTube channel. That's fine. Right. If I did, we could save the world, but that's not like, this isn't about one person becoming the new guru. It's about everyone becoming their own guru, right? And that's never really been done before. It's hard as an underestimator to convince everyone else who's an underestimator that we're actually the ones who are going to save the world, when the underestimators are looking at the overestimators and being like, I can't possibly do that. You're like, right, you're not supposed to. You're real. They're fake. Like, or whatever. Some of them are fake.
Well, as I said, I want to get more stable. And as I said, I need to do a lot of practicing on things to see how they work and stuff. And I think once I've done that, I'll be able to, because I've practiced it and I've done it and I've seen how it's worked and tested it. And then that way I'll actually be more help to you.
I do have an issue with like I create something in my head and then I never really test it out. I'm like, it'll work. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that's part of, we need to actually test it and see, right? Are we progressing? How are we at week 1 versus how are we at week 6? How was
Right.
it, right? Which is why there's an entire week devoted to that of like, how was
Right.
this? What would have made it better? What did you learn with your health relationships, time and resources, right? Like what was, anyway. So yeah,
Well, I think that would
do
be
it in a
really
very me
helpful.
way. I'm
Yeah.
not going to write out the stuff. We're just going to
Aye. Well, as I said, I'd definitely be interested in taking part in that because I think it would actually help me at the stage I'm at just now to actually, because I know I realise that my learning style is very much through conversation and talking to people. Like, as I said, if things are bouncing in my head, they just kind of bounce, like the pinball. It's like zoom, 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 zoom. But once I've spoken to somebody, I go and have a think or have a sleep or something. And then it's like, oh, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's what I should be doing. You know what I mean? And I get sparks. Because since my last video, I've kind of been getting sparks off a hell of a lot of conversations I've been having. And they've all been sparks in the right sort of way. You know what I mean? It's like synchronicities have been kicking off all over the place and doors have been opening, which I never even thought.
Conversations show that more than it, because like, as much as the influencer culture also does that, right? Like the right video will show up at the right time. And I'm like, how did that happen? That's so weird. But when you're sitting around a table or a virtual table and the right person has the right information, or like it's the right information for you. And it shows up time and time again that yes, that is how we learn. That is how we progress. And it's helpful for everyone. Like if you help somebody else, that's help. Like it's already omni-win for the right people, right? And this is where, if you feel like you're the expert and you're just going to be doling everything out to everybody else, then it's not reciprocity, right? It's not, wait, I'm going to be the doctor telling everyone how to correct their health, instead of like, no, don't do that. That's not what we need. You can be a doctor and you can have a vision on your health, and people are going to probably be more likely to listen to you if you give them your opinion on their health. But they don't have to. They're not your patients. Like this is not, that's not what this is.
Well, I've been listening to, there's a podcast called The Disruptive Entrepreneur, right? Now, I hate the word entrepreneur. I think you should only say it if you're actually French, right? Because it's French word. So just like, so everybody, oh, you're a mumpreneur, you're an entrepreneur, you're thispreneur. Fuck off, you know what I mean? But the guy who runs it, right, who's this dodgy geezer. Well, he's not dodgy, but you know what I mean? And he's been having interviews with loads of different people. And because he was fascinated by billionaires and millionaires and what got them there and that. And basically, I've been listening to all the interviews of all the people he's had so far. And I think I've got about 40 left to go. And it's basically surround yourself with people who are honesty and transparency, right? You know what I mean? Like, because I know most in business, you'd end up being, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. But that's not quite right. But that's the way they play it. So I've been listening to all of them. And I've basically found quite a few people who I'm going to message later on or find out, once I'm more further down the line. I'm like, right, okay, then. So I'll find a way in to have a chat with them. And all of them, of all these billionaires and that, and they're like, it's not the money. It's the sense of purpose and fulfillment and that. And what I like about his podcast is he asks some questions that nobody else asks. And it's really honest. And it's unedited. And I absolutely love that, because you don't often find unedited stuff. You know what I mean? In conversation, it's all kind of, because you can see people's eyes going because there's been jump cuts, you know what I mean? And stuff like that as well, So honesty and transparency all the way. That's basically it, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I'd like that. But yeah, conversations are much better for me learning style. Because as I said, it unlocks a load of things in my mind. And with my mum and my family helping me out with money till the end of December 21, it's actually freed my mind so much to all the stuff about worrying about I'm going to pay my mortgage and how's that's going to, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to eat and am I going to have to go scrounging for food off people? That's all gone for the year. So it's opened my mind to all sorts of possibilities. And because I need to practice the sales and marketing and stuff, because I'm not coming at it from a point of desperation, like, buy my shit, please buy my shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, and I spoke to somebody who is in business, who is successful in that. And I told him, I said, oh, I'm going to have to learn sales and marketing. and that. And he's like, why? I said, well, I can't do that. He said, you already kind of networking and stuff. You're really good at that. I said, yeah, but it's asking people for money, innit? It's the selling bit that I can't kind of get myself, like, because if I'm going to somebody for a chat, I'm hoping that they're seeing me as just coming for a chat. But if they start seeing me, oh, what you gonna fucking try and sell me now? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is also, I mean, the underestimation, especially in the life coaching industry. The one person I've worked with as a coach who was the one person I was like, okay, actually, I need to pay you because I need this skill in my life. And they helped me get in touch with my emotions. And he's no longer a life coach because he couldn't make a living at it. And it's the very people who don't really want to charge money who are the best at it. And then the ones who suck at it or not suck at it, but are like evil underneath are the ones who make tons and tons of money. And it's like, it happens time and time again in business, like just on repeat, that the more, because I can imagine that you want to crochet for people you know, right? You're like, I can't crochet for people I don't know. And you're not going to want to charge people you know. And so, and quite frankly, even if you had a really awesome Etsy shop, right, that you had this following of thousands and thousands of people and they were buying it off of you, you can't even really make minimum wage making crafts. There has to be other ways of doing it, right? The YouTube videos, the things that are like on the side, because you're not even making minimum wage, putting in your time and materials to be able to sell it for that, right? And or it's $80 for something, and it's like, well, it's not, someone can go buy the equivalent for $5 in the store. We just don't have that pricing built in to, right? Like your effort and passion don't equate to the dollar amount. And so dealing with that, I think something like the MLM I'm creating, where people are able to earn up to 120,000 or 60,000 with the other positions, is like how you actually get paid, and then you can put your passion out in the world, right? That those are very different versus like, because if you have to get paid for your passion, then you have to become an influencer, which means you have to market, which means you're not going to be your authentic self. It's not right. You're not going to be making things for people you know and love. It's going to have to be for the masses. And this is part of the problem, is like, you have to kind of sell your soul to be successful, and then you've sold your soul.
I've been really struggling. I've been really struggling over the past couple of weeks, because I'm thinking, you know, because when I first started crocheting and stuff, I thought, well, I'm just going to make stuff for people who I love, respect, and appreciate. And then I can just make them and send it off. There you go. And they didn't even know they were getting anything. You know what I mean? They're just like, what's your favorite colors? You know, like how sad people ask, what's your favorite colors? You know what I mean? And I love that, just being able to just give somebody. And now I'm going to have to kind of force to kind of put a price on things. And I'm like, well, I've got to find a kind of middle way where I can make stuff and just send it to someone because I love them, respect them, and appreciate them.
Yeah.
But so I was thinking I'll make my other stuff really expensive and exclusive. And then that way, if someone buys it, because my fear was, what if somebody really horrible gets their hands on this? I don't want it going to horrible people wandering around wearing what I've made them. If they're being a twat to other people, I don't want that. You know what I mean? And there's no way of gauging that if you're having to sell to the wider world. You know what I mean? And when I was thinking about the market idea, well, it's more, I want, you know, like Etsy and that, everybody goes to their site because they want to sell something, right? I think I want people to come to a site because of the community and the people there, and whatever they're up to, then that can sweep into the market. But the people are there for the other people, not for what, you know what I mean? And I don't know whether I'm probably shite at business, and this is probably why
and
I
that
need
might be like
mentor.
Doing the 6-week course, right? The 6-week course that I'm designing, that is about us coming together and figuring it is very much from that model. And this is part of my issue, is the Game B. I want to retire the Game B people. The Game B people are already up to amazing things. Those are the people I want to retire. But the Game B people don't necessarily see the value in a 6-week course of that peer-to-peer. If they would, if it was just Game B people, but they're like, ooh, not with the unwashed masses. Like, it's like, they have to be at that's not what they're saying. Those are my language. But like that same level of, are you here to help everyone? right? Do you want to help other people? Yes, then let's have a conversation and let's help each other, because guess what? Even if we help each other a little bit with our goals in life, we're unlocking the potential of good human beings. And then they have more potential and they're inviting in more people. That is literally just the metric of, do you want help and do you want to help other people? If it's yes to both of those options, and honestly, even if it's you don't want help, but you want to help helping other people is the bigger part, but people get to one through the other. People come to help themselves and end up helping other people and realizing how awesome that is, or they come to help other people and realize, oh, I got help too. That it's about, are we here to help one another, and then how do we grow out from there? And part of it is me seeing time and time again that the people who are good aren't the people making money. And the people making money are often the evilest, worst people on the planet. And it's like, no, and you can't just switch that, right? You can't just be a good person and make it in business, because you can be a good person and make it in business, but you're never going to make it the same as someone who's evil and lying. And so you're never going to be as successful as that person, which means they always have an advantage. It's the entire system that's broken. But I do think we can create something beautiful from within that then grows out in the most, sounds like cancer, but it's more like a crystal, crystal formation and crystal growing out. And then you can't really tell who started it. You can't really tell. It's just beautiful and growing. Yeah, let's go with crystal instead of the other horrific branding. Cancer or crystal? Which one?
And Carrie, you might want to look into what's called solution sales, because I've done sales in the past and I'm horrible at it. But what people think of as like normal sales is really selling stuff that maybe either shouldn't be sold or they don't believe in or isn't the best. Like, it's the ability to, sell ice to an Eskimo is the term that people use for like a good salesperson. We're like, yeah, that term is selling somebody something they don't need, which I don't know why that's the benchmark. Part of the sales I did was selling computers, and I know computers, and I wasn't a good salesperson as far as the company I was working for was concerned, but yet like I still helped people and I sold things and people came back to me, and I was able to sell things because I didn't care about the profit margin or this. I cared about helping that person, and that anybody can do, because you're just talking to another person and you say, okay, tell me what you need. Oh, okay, no, that computer is massive overkill for what you want. Go look over here, which isn't something a normal salesperson would do, but something that's not a salesperson and just someone who's helping. Which is also like, if you had something that you knew could sell for $100, but you had it priced at $20, I bet you could sell that no problem. Because you're like, well, wait, it's selling over here for 100. It's only 20 here. That's something that you can sell your friends and family on. And it's that same conversation. It's the, well, what's it worth? And what we think of as sales and marketing is sort of, snake oil, selling ice to Eskimos. And sorry for continually using that word. I know that it's not great, but still, that's
right.
The end goal is what we're seeing are the people that like kind of the overestimators, right? Those are the people that go to the top because they can sell anything and that's their skill set. But like, that's not a skill set that you necessarily need to cultivate.
Right. Yeah, because I was also having a look at sponsorship as well. Sponsorship, and there's a guy who runs a sponsorship collective. I think his name is Chris Bayless. He's Canadian. I think he's in Vancouver or Ottawa. I think no, he's in Canada somewhere, right? So anyway, he put out all these videos on sponsorships and stuff, and it was like, getting to know who you're speaking to and who their audience is, and he said, if you're going in with a sponsorship deal, asking them for money straight away, that's a big no. You just don't do that. So I've learned a lot from that. So I would like people
that's like getting sponsors as an influencer, or what do you mean by sponsorship?
Well, no, right. So sponsorship, right? Because before my mum gave me the money, right, I thought, okay, how much do I need to stay alive for the next kind of year? Nobody's going to give me a job. I can't get a job. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to do something. And I thought, right, okay. So if I find 50 people who'd be willing to give me 20 quid a month for a year, and then that would help me get on my feet. And then I thought, well, that's going to take me ages getting to that. But I wanted to build it like a sponsorship package. So they weren't just giving me it for nothing. But they would be there for me to practice on. practice sales and marketing, because I said, look, you know, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, and I haven't got a clue about that, but I'm going to have to try the traditional and build up. But part of the reason, and I was watching another video about money and stuff and that, and it was like, find the problems, what people chase the problems, not the money, right? So in order, like, and me thinking in this, so like, ask people for 20 quid for a year, for the month, you know what I mean, to give me, then that would give me a chance to actually get to know them and finding out what problems that they had. And then as part of the sponsorship package, like some of them may be working, some of them maybe not. Part of the sponsorship package would be like building stuff that's actually giving them stuff that's useful to them, that so they didn't feel like they were just giving it and getting nothing back. And then it was all about finding whoever you're going to. And, you know, and he said, instead of going to all the sort of like the giving organizations, you know, the philanthropy and all of that, go to the business development, communications, brand management, and there was something else. Go and ask, go to them for the sponsorship and find out who their audiences are, where, you know, where they are, what problems they're having, you know what I mean? But you've got to build up the audience yourself and see who's within your audience. So it's all about audience. And I kind of hate the word audience because you know, I'm not on the stage, you know, just not performing and that, but I hate the word audience. So like if you've built a community, you could practice on the community and find out, you know, and they said it would take time, but it's actually having a conversation that would find out who their audience is and aligning what the people who you're interested in are they're interested in, and then coming up with experiences. Just all these buzzwords, experiences for the sponsor, and that your audiences will love anyway. But because your audiences is the sponsorships audience, they would be able to sponsor it and they would love it and blah blah blah. So I was like, well, that's interesting, because as I said, I'd never thought about that. But that, I mean, as I said, I've been learning a lot. It's all kinds of swilling around my head like big shit, you know. I mean, with all the sales, marketing. As I said, there's still lots. I've got lots to learn. But yeah, so sales, marketing, sponsorship, and this sponsorship collective. He said he wants to do.
Sorry, Carrie, we're at the hour, and I know you'll. I'm waiting for you to stop, but it's not gonna. It's not gonna happen.
I'll stop now. I'll stop now.
So I do want to say though, there's something in the 6-week course that is without the sponsorship exactly what you're looking to do. So I say we do it, and there might be something in that offers you what it was coming through Barbara Shear for you, that you can bring to a knitting circle or something, right? Because it's kind of almost what naturally happens in a knitting circle, or is like you're talking about your problems and helping each other. This is just a more structured version of that, but giving somebody those tools, and maybe you can take a version of it and go off and play with it. So we are at the hour though, so I just want to say goodbye to YouTube and Facebook, and we will see you next week on Friday.